Whenever you're ready, you may start.
All of us sitting in this classroom today at some point or another have had that feeling, that stomach lurching, fist clenching, palm sweating, tense muscle feeling. It's our body's way of responding to outside events. But if we listen to our bodies closely, we'll be able to understand exactly what's going on. My purpose for today's speech is to inform the audience of stress. I will discuss what stress is. I will tell you how stress impacts our society today. And most importantly, I will tell you how to deal with stress, both in preventative measures and with stress management. My last statement was a little bit contradictory because stress is such a vague statement that it's defined by scientists, that it cannot be explained and cannot be, that it cannot be explained and that it defies definition. The Oxford Dictionary, if you open it up, states that stress is a state of mental or emotional strain or tension resulting from adverse or very demanding circumstances. The first thing I want to tell you about stress is that not all stress is bad. Stress can be helpful, and in most times it is. Stress motivates people to accomplish more, and increased stress results in increased productivity. If you're nervous about your test and you're stressed about getting an A, you're more likely to study for it. That propels us to do better in life. The difference between good stress and bad stress are what's coined as the term stressors. A pioneering endocrinologist named Hans Selye from Romania was the first to define a stressor. A stressor's definition is literally anything that is an agent or stimulus that can cause stress. It could be running an election, it could be a noise of a slamming car door, or even something as simple as a first date. The only thing that remains common is the more stressors you have in your life, the more stressed you are. Now that I've discussed the overarching theme of what stress is and defined it a little bit for you, I'm going to explain stress in our bodies and how we react to it. From an anatomical perspective, stress is a fight or flight activation response to the body's sympathetic nervous system reacting to a stressful event or a stressor. A person then subconsciously chooses to either run away or to face a stressful event. This creates elevated chemicals of cortisol and adrenaline. This is just our body's way of coping with things that might be detrimental to us, like the loss of a loved one or maybe a car accident. On a more molecular level, it is very difficult to cope with stress because you are not able to control the amount of adrenaline or cortisol released. But in today's society, stress is more prevalent than ever, and that number increases every year. Next, I'll be talking about stress today in 2016. As illustrated here, you can see that we have a lot to worry about. Work, money, school, grades, parents. We have a lot of standards that we need to meet. According to the American Institute of Stress, 44% of Americans feel more stressed today than they did 5 years ago. And a whopping 30% of adults say that stress affects their physical health, and 33% says it has an effect on their mental health. This is just a result of common factors. This doesn't even include traumatizing events, which I think in today's society are more prevalent than ever, given the attacks and everything that we face. The American Institute of Stress focuses on the fact that self-care is no longer a priority. In today's world, we focus mainly on our stature, on our money, on ourselves in terms of how we are seen by others, but we don't take care of our bodies and we don't take care of our mental health. And stressing about it causes us to stress even more. Because stress takes such a toll on all of us, next I would like to address the ways to prevent stress as well as stress management. Taking active steps to prevent stress and promoting a healthy lifestyle will lead to a better, healthier, happier you. I know that sounds cheesy, but come on, I think we all need a little less stress in our lives. There are many ways to prevent stress, or even manage existing stress. It would be naive to think that you could just say no to all stress. There are things that occur to us that we cannot control. So I will go over ways to prevent stress, but also ways to deal with them when they occur. The first thing and the most important thing indicated by the American Psychology Association is to identify your stressor. You need to learn to say no. If you're stressed by traffic, go to bed earlier, wake up earlier, avoid the traffic. Exercise is also a wonderful reducer of stress. It releases endorphins, which is your body's natural way to counteract high cortisol levels. Take time out, take a deep breath, and distract yourself. If you're in an argument with your mom, just take a walk. Don't deal with it right then and there. It's never good to act when you're stressed. And last but not least, accept the stress and learn to let it go. It happens to the best of us, and we can only move on from it and become better people. Stress is an undeniable factor of life that can either harm us or propel us. I hope that by defining what stress is, showing you how stress affects us today in society, and listing methods to prevent and cope with stress, you will now be more informed and better prepared to face any stressful upcoming event. Thank you very much.